Alec Pierce, Steve. 26 years old, 6'3", 211 pounds. The estimation is that this man's going to get somewhere between 25 and 30 million dollars.
Per year?
Per year.
Shut up. Really?
Yes. The number is climbing for a couple of reasons.
Get paid, young king. Get paid.
Yes. Let's go. And listen, let's start off with this. He was recently on Kay Adams' show a couple of days ago, and I saw a different Alec Pierce. He's like, I've earned the right to test free agents. Little more gusto in his voice. This is a guy, if you know anybody who covers this team, one of the worst locker room quotes, will never talk about himself, which is obviously a good thing.
Great quality.
Always team first. Always just what's best for the Colts. But right now, and I think Jonathan Taylor kind of did this because he's wired the same way. He's definitely a team first guy. But when it came time for JT to get paid, you got to be a little bit about me when it's time to get paid, right, Steve?
Well, you have to be about you, because if you don't, then you, as the player, get the short end of the stick, right? We've seen a number of we see this all the time where fans love to, they love to give their opinion. They love to root for their guys, right? They also love to comment about guys they deem that are villains or rivals. And at times you're gonna see, and I would imagine he's seen it, and I would imagine some people have had comments about him. Well, he's not this, he's not that. Even, for yourself, James, you had said that he can get in that category of the Christian Kirk when he became a free agent and was acquired through free agency by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you said a lot of people said, wow, didn't see that coming. Because of that, when there's like this unspoken or just kind of this thought that, wow, you overpaid, then fans get the thought process of, oh yeah, he isn't that good. And it's not about, a lot of times it's not even about being good or not. It is purely about hitting free agency, having a hell of a year at the right time.
Timing's everything.
Timing is everything. And he's timing it up perfect. I would imagine he's probably spicy. And
a little spicy right now.
A little spicy because I don't care who drafts you unless it's a debacle. And I don't think it was a debacle for him at the Colts. I think the Colts gave him an opportunity with his hard work, right? Some great coaching should be a Hall of Famer by now, which is classmate of the 2001 draft class, Reggie Wayne.
Loves to smoke a cigar.
Man, and since he's come out of Cincinnati, and I was actually at his pro day because he came out with Desmond Ridder, Sauce Gardner, and did a really good job of showing his versatility, right? If you go back and look at his college film in Cincinnati, deep threat. When you look at his film with the Indianapolis Colts, deep threat. However, he can separate, he can release, he can fight through. A lot of the last couple of years, he's been injured as well, still showing up, still playing, right? Bringing his lunch pail, his hard hat. Those are the type of young guys, you don't have to teach them how to work hard. That's ingrained in them. And he has really got in the place where he deserves every penny someone else is going to offer him, because he was not supposed to be where he is right now, literally behind George Pickens.
Yeah.
Like George Pickens is one. And then there's Alec Pierce. And you're talking about the same piece of paper that has Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs. I don't care how old these players are. They still have a resume that makes you go, that you hope you could get just a little bit from them.
Well, there's two parts of play. I love that you said timing's everything. We agreed on that. You also are, when people get upset about the dollar, Steve, you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. And that's just the nature of capitalism. That's the nature of free market. And what happens is he's in a position that very few receivers get to. Being a young receiver with really, really attractive traits, and we'll get into them. in a business right now where top tier receivers with those traits don't become free agents, right?
Mm-mm.
They get signed in today's game. They don't become available. Usually become available if you have red flags. There actually are, when I ask around the league, no red flags with Alec Pierce. There's no character issues. There's no, there's no red flags with his game. So you get paid when you're the rare individual that enters free agency in today's game, like he is specifically when you're 26. You mentioned something about like kind of like we know he's a vertical threat. We know he's a big body guy that can get down the field, it can separate, kind of has a second gear when I talk to teams, like when he starts getting down the field and he can win above the rim. But the intermediate stuff, it seemed like this year, when I asked around, he got a little bit better at that stuff. Using that threat of the speed to break stuff off and get stuff between the numbers a little bit. Did you see a growth there? Because also what you're doing with this investment when you sign him is you're looking at what else he can add to his game. Is that a part you saw grow in 25? Because he had 441 receiving yards between the numbers, career high.
Yeah, because if you go back, when he was at Cincinnati, he did a lot of things in the slot, right? He was outside, he was a vertical threat, but he was able to do and maneuver in the slot. Now, systematically, when you look at the Colts and what they do, Josh Downs, he's there. He is there short behind the line of scrimmage, right? Flanker drives, unders, right? He give you the China routes, the jerks, all of those things. But Alec Pierce, in the beginning, when they first drafted him, they were so enamored by his speed that, and you have Michael Pittman Jr., who is in the intermediate area. So you obviously, if you're a good coach, you don't have two people running the same route where they can run into each other, and now you start to hurt your offense. And so you always got to have a vertical threat. I mean, that's the only way it works. And vertical threats, depending on which team you are, your vertical threat can be defense, can be a tight end, right? So everybody uses some way, somehow differently. Condense the formation. Yes, he has improved because I think they wanted to see, right, in the contract year, in his fifth year, in his development, where every year you give a guy a little bit more, right? The thing with Alec Pierce that I think people are going to have to figure out, fans-wise, is he's going to get paid a handsome sum. However, I'm not necessarily sure he will be looked at as the number one wide receiver.
Agreed.
But I think he has the potential to grow into something that no one knows how it's going to work out. But he has so much promise. And like you said, he's shown over time that he can evolve his game. He can advance and do things that you're not expecting.
Yep. And that's huge, right?
Yes, that's huge because you don't want to get, it's not even about money. You don't want to get a guy that as soon as you get him in a building, you realize all the things that you hoped and thought he could be, he can't. And Alec Pierce has done a really good job of, everybody knows, like, first of all, when he was drafted, nobody thought that boy can go. Then he started going, and people were like, uh-oh. What he started to show on a consistent basis that he could keep going. So when he can keep going, the DB doesn't want to miss, and then now he runs by him. So what do? Let me back up a little bit and give him a little space to work. So as he gets a little space to work, now Alec is going, I know I got this in route. I know he's pressed inside. What can I do and how can I get there? So you start fooling with different splits and different kind of wiggle or hesitations, or trying to out leverage, blind spot, manipulate the defender. And you're going against a top tier defense as well. You're going against Moore, Kenny Moore, who's outstanding. He's a great cover guy, right? You got to bring your intelligence was going against Kenny because he's very patient. He's not going for anything because Kenny is not the speedster. And that's the thing people don't realize. He's not a speedster, but he's hell of a smart, and he knows exactly how and why he's doing things. And he forces the receiver to commit significantly early, and then he reacts. And so, how do I flip that to Alec? Is Alec took that data, took that opportunity, understands, and says, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do," and he's improved. Sinks his hips, getting in and out of breaks, the ability to go deep. You can't coach that, right? That's why speed. The speed gets you paid. A willing blocker, just interactive, selfless, man, great football player, in my opinion, and one of the best free agents out here with a very clean slate and also moldable. He's still learning the game.
Yeah,
He's not too old that he's an old dog that can't learn new tricks. He's still a pup that's trying to figure out how to do everything. So you get him with someone who maybe you have an older guy, right? All of a sudden, man, it gets dangerous.
Yeah, it does. He has the ability to open the rest of your offense up when you mention the ability to stretch the field, and everybody has to figure it out. I wanted to ask you this because you were great downfield, and I feel like being an explosive threat, and if you look at what he's done, if you look at some of the metrics, he might be the best in football over the last couple of years in terms of down the field. But there's always the speed element we bring to it. But there's so much more, in my opinion, to being an explosive threat down the field outside the numbers than just the speed. You have to be physical enough to win contested catches down the field. He plays above the rim, like I mentioned. He has great body control. What are the other traits he has that make him so good in the explosive game? Because, 32 of his 47 catches were explosive gains. And we know what those are in the NFL in terms of over, 20 yards. So if you look at where he's at, what other aspects that people can look at other than the speed, the traits that make him so good down the field? Because there are a lot of guys in this league with speed, but man, they can get pushed around downfield, pushed off routes, don't track the ball as well as he does. What are the things that he does outside of the speed that make him so good in terms of the explosive game?
So I'm going down my list, my checklist of things that I like. So I'm holding it, and I'm in a hotel, but right is. Sometimes we look at speed guys and we know, oh man, he could vertically go. But escaping press has nothing to do with speed. That's technique. That's also high eye and hand coordination, recognizing what the defense is, understanding what your job is, not panicking, sinking his hips and figuring out how to get in and out of breaks. The one area I believe he could probably improve on, which he's going to have to, especially depending on which division he goes into, is fighting off the defender while he's running the route, right? So not getting bumped off. Early in his career, because he was fast, he tried to outrun everybody. And when you outrun, you outrun and you open up the gate or open up the route, which means you get closer to the sideline. And the corner will always ride you to the sideline because that becomes the 12th man. That's where the 12th man, you can have the 12th man on the field without getting a penalty because you can't catch the football. It doesn't count as a reception. And I don't know I still as a receiver don't understand the rule where you can go out of bounds, but you have to reestablish. But you can't be the first person to touch it.
Yeah. So wait for the lateral, I guess.
Right? So, I mean, that's the rule.
Yeah.
I know the rule. I hear the rule. And just like a kid, I'm going, okay, I understand. But internally, I'm going, I don't get it. Because I can't allow the other guy to touch it first because if he's touching it, that means that's an interception.
Yeah.
That's a turnover on downs. So he doesn't get bumped off. I love he doesn't just pull away from guys. He also goes up and gets it. Right? Sinking his hips. And here's what sinking his hips, why that's important. Sinking your hips is important because it lets your team and the opponents know that you're not stiff in the hips, which means you can put your foot in the ground and go. And when you put your foot in the ground and go, I'm not talking about straight vertical. I'm talking about he's eating up cushion. Oops, let me stop on the dime and go this way. Right? And then all of a sudden now the DB who's about to turn and run now has to use a false step. Now he has to redrop, redirect, and go that way. That takes a lot of movement. And in that movement, it takes milliseconds off, which means you're a few steps behind and several milliseconds behind the throw. And that's the difference between a completion and good yak and not being in the vicinity and not being able to cover your guy.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfectly explained. That's why we do this show, so everybody can hear that from you, man. Listen, I wanted to say that and kind of put this out there.
Okay.
In terms of dollars, and I want to name some players and just kind of play a little game.
About to start something.
Because...
Don't you start nothing, Jay. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I've seen everyone have comments and watch the episode. Got a ton of impressive and inspiring messages from people saying that my sit down with Cam Newton on 4th and 1 was exceptional. It gave me an opportunity to really take ownership on my behavior as an older veteran player, but also it gave a great example of the work that I've been able to do over the years to really understand how my mental health has and will affect me as I get older and then through life altogether. The network that BetterHelp has is up to 30,000 credentialed therapists, and they allow you to work around your schedule. There's not a lot of counselors who do Zoom and also work around your schedule so you can eat lunch and have a salad and also get your mental health ready and get back to work. BetterHelp is helping a ton of people. It's helped me, and hopefully it'll help you. Visit betterhelp.com/89 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/89.
Now, I'm going to give you the numbers of the next guys, and you just tell me where Alex Pierce kind of fits into this group. All right? Jameson Williams is at 26.6. George Pickens, because of the tag, 27.3. DJ Moore, your spirit animal, at 27.5. Jalen Waddle at 28.2. T. Higgins at 28.7. Terry McLaurin at 29. First off, I guess, is Alec Pierce better than any of these receivers? I know his contract's coming more recent, so that's always at play about where the numbers are.
So here's what I'm not going to say. I'm not going to give you a clear-cut answer. Is he better?
Does he belong in this group, I guess?
He does belong.
Do you think he can?
I think he can belong to this list of really good, great, dominant wide receivers. Mm-hmm. I think. Nowhere. I don't think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you compare Alec Pierce to T. Higgins, it's unfair. T. Higgins is playing with Jamar Chase. Exactly. His quarterback was Joe Flacco and Joe Burrow, dime droppers. Right?
Yep.
Alec was balling, but he also
had great quarterback play.
Thank you. Right? So what happens when he has 18 or 17 weeks of consistent quarterback play with on-time throws? George Pickens plays with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, right? It's unfair to compare and say who is he better than when some of these guys are hell of a players and they have hell of a players delivering the football and great offensive structures as well.
That was the other part I wanted to bring up. Devontae Smith has A.J. Brown. Jameson Williams has Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mm-hmm. George Pickens has CeeDee Lamb. T. Higgins has Jamar Chase. I guess Scary Terry got Scary Terry. I guess he's got Debo, I guess, in some sense. But, like, the point I wanted to mention is you can be in this group and even be a 2 on an offense.
Yeah. Here's one. I would say overall skill level, Jameson Williams is better than Alec Pierce. Okay? But Alec Pierce understands and has shown he can evolve his game I think Jameson Williams, and they're still figuring out how to utilize him with the Detroit Lions because of what happened when St. Brown went down. They had to put him in positions that he hasn't consistently played in. He's probably done it in practice, but not in a game. And you have to have results right now.
Okay. All right. Then before we go, I got a couple of teams that I've heard interest.
Okay.
And you tell me.
I'm ready. That's what I wanted.
Ready? Okay. Here we go. Raiders.
I like the Raiders and I don't like the Raiders for them.
I agree. Like, I like him, and then Bauer's playing off of it. Like, I can see you doing some things.
We don't know how it's going to look next year. They have so many things that they have to work on. Right? Who's the quarterback? How's it going to look?
Who's in front of the quarterback? How are you going to get the ball downfield?
Yeah, like just everything. And I say who's in front of it. I say who's the quarterback because the draft hasn't happened. There's a lot of wheeling and dealing between now and the draft. So you don't know who's going to throw something to someone else that you go, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. All right, how about 49ers? It looks like, obviously
so
not coming back. A lot of people believe Juwan Jennings not coming back. So you got
Juwan Jennings is not coming back. Juwan Jennings got that Alec Pierce too. He's like, hell no, I'm about to get paid. What you talking about? Hometown Discount is that moving company that's going I'm gonna use to pack up my stuff. If Alec Pierce, I like him on the 49ers and I don't. Some people are gonna say I'm lazy for this, but I don't really see the difference between him and Ricky Pearsall.
Okay.
Both are fast, both are crafty, and both are still developing.
I get what you're saying. People liked it, and I had this conversation with George Payton at the Combine, Stephen, and it was fascinating because I think he's one of the best team builders in the league.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to stagger things age and skill-wise at particular positions, and he meant age as in, like, where are guys in their careers?
Yes.
I don't want all guys to be at the same spot of their career and in a position group. I thought that was fascinating, the way he looks at building a team in that manner. Okay, now, how about the Bills
about the Denver
out.
Broncos?
I know they're looking. I know they're looking in the draft too.
Right. So I just thought about how about the Denver Broncos? Right. Courtland Sutton is the big play guy, but I know Mims is falling out of favor a little bit. Franklin has had some injury stuff. Pat Bryant, they like those guys, but some of these guys have been injured, some concussion stuff. So why not? Because Courtland Sutton, he's a guy who can go up there and contest the football. However, he's not a vertical threat with speed. He's a vertical threat in 50-50 balls.
Size. Yep.
Yes.
I think this one's would be a slam dunk.
Oh,
what is Drake May's best quality?
Oh, throwing the ball deep.
I think New England, if they can't get AJ Brown, this is a pretty good fit.
You know what? Yeah, it's gonna be a problem for some folks though.
Somebody's that are on the roster.
Somebody's gonna be an odd man out because here's why he's gonna be an odd man out. Kayshon Boutte, I love what he's developed, how he's done it. I love how he's been very transparent on his growth, what he struggled with.
And he's like this with Drake.
Yes. Pop Douglas, Matt Hollins, Kyle Williams, Alec Pierce comes in. He's getting paid $25 million a year. Guess what, buddy? He's starting. He's starting. Someone is not going to be playing. He automatically, and other people go, automatically. We're not going to pay you $25 million, and you got to earn your way. You earned it already.
Yeah, you earned it when we cut you the check.
Yes.
Okay, last team, and I thought this was an interesting one. The New York Football Giants.
I can see that with Harbaugh. I can see that with Harbaugh. Yep.
Yeah. Opposite of neighbors.
Yep.
And I
think that's the perfect fit. I think that might be the perfect fit.
I see that changing things for Neighbors. I think for Theo Johnson at the tight end spot, like, you got to stretch the field a little bit. It helps out Cam Scattaboo. Like, I do think there's a lot of things that you could like about that spot. Alec Pierce is a baller, man.
Yeah, he is.